Following the arrest and deportation of illegal Chinese miners, President John Mahama has made a call to all concerned that relations between the two countries be allowed to flourish despite these issues. This call came during a visit by the Ghana-China Friendship Association, who called on the president to discuss ways of moving relations between the two countries further. Gifty Ando Apia has the rest of the story.
We've had some few problems in small-scale mining, but like I said, we should not stereotype and target or prejudice. The thing is, we have laws that need to be obeyed, and it doesn't matter who it is, whether it's an Eskimo or it's a Nigerian or it's a Chinese or it's whatever. It's not about who it is or what the race is. It is about what the law says and how we implement it. I think that in the diplomatic relations between Ghana and China, we have enough space in which to resolve some of these issues that we're confronted with.
The Ghana-China Friendship Association is a group born out of a treaty signed 51 years ago in Beijing by Ghana's first president, Dr. Kwame Nkrumah. President of the Ghana version, Ambassador Kojo Amo-Gottfeld, stressed the need to interact and exchange ideas on a win-win basis, irrespective of any challenges. Member of the delegation, Ben Egan, also a former secretary to cabinet, said the Chinese delegation has expressed interest in media development, tourism, renewable energy, agriculture and mining, and plans to invest in these areas. To this regard, leader of the Chinese delegation, Xu Qiayu, warned Chinese residents in Ghana to strictly abide by the law.
We want to contribute to this great country and make it as the shipping center, the trade center, financial center, and a manufacturing center of Africa. I sincerely wish that your government and the creative technical team could support us and work together with us to pragmatically promote the economic and trade cooperation between China and Ghana.
President John Mahama said Ghana's Investment Promotion Act is being reviewed to be more responsive to contemporary investor needs.
Traditional sources of economic cooperation that Africa has had, are drying up because of the financial crisis that is taking place in America and Europe. With the current world economic crisis, there is a shift in terms of the direction of trade and bilateral cooperation to the BRIC countries, of which China is one, Brazil is another, India is one of them, and Russia is the other. And so we're looking to bump up investments in our economies, and the response, I must say, has been good. One of the things we're looking to do is to particularly promote public-private partnerships, between African countries and Chinese investors and businessmen.
The president said China remains Ghana's biggest partner in terms of trading and other consumables. He also congratulated the current president of China, Xi Jinping.
Still at the Flagstaff House, the Secretary General of the International Civil Aviation Commission, Roberto Gonzalez, is asking that Ghana opens up its aviation agreements with other states to encourage competition. He made the comments in a meeting with Vice President Kwesi Amissah-Arthur. I would have to bring you that story a little later, but the plan to deploy national service persons as traffic wardens continues to attract comments from the public. The Ghana National Union of Polytechnic Students is also protesting the move. In a statement issued in Accra, GUINEA says polytechnic graduates are willing to work in any field as their contribution to national development, except as traffic wardens.
A portion of the statement reads,
The call for undergraduates to render their compulsory yearly national service in assisting the MTTU and other road management agencies to direct traffic by the National Service Scheme Executive Director Vincent Kwagbanu is not only hilarious but also an attempt to bring the work of the MTTU and other equally important road management agencies to disrepute. Their representative spoke to Joy News.
When you are giving them service posting, yes, which is a civic responsibility of every graduate that is coming out of the tertiary institution, and you don't place them at places that they can put their skill, knowledge and talent that they've acquired all this while to use, then it means that we are gradually derailing the effort that they've put when they were in school. And this is something that we don't perfectly agree. When you look at the reforms that the executive director of the NSS is bringing to the scheme, we see some of them as very commendable. But for this one, we beg to differ. We beg to differ. We will not direct traffic. We will do any other thing in that falls within the knowledge and skill that we've acquired all this while to support this nation to reach a higher pedestal, but not to direct traffic.
Public Relations Officer Andrew Atare-Winnie reiterated that it is an honor for them to serve their nation, but it was also right for them to be posted to where they can best apply their knowledge on what they studied.
An honor for every graduate to be given the opportunity to serve your nation. There's nothing that delights us than that. But the fact is that use me at a place where I'll be more efficient. Use me at a place where I can give my best. Use me at a place where people will really see that the nation invested in me so well and I'm giving out my best. If you tell me to go and direct traffic as an accounting student, how would I feature that in my CV if I'm going to seek for employment? As you know, that corporate bodies now will tell you that they need 5 years experience, 2 years experience. How do I feature that in my CV as working experience? If you send me to the farm, how do I feature that as a lab technician into my CV as a working experience?
According to him, the NSS boss should join the campaign by the Ghana Road Safety Commission for both motorists and pedestrians to respect the road regulations. The Executive Director of National Service Scheme, Vincent Kwagbanu, has said the establishment of the scheme is to help solve problems affecting the nation's development, therefore deploying service personnel to respond to the challenge of road traffic congestion was in line with the scheme's mandate.
And as I told you yesterday, this story seems never to go away. Now, some basic schools teachers are worried their pupils might have difficulties during their end-of-term exams as they have been unable to complete their syllabus as a result of their 2-week strike. They are, meanwhile, agitated. There is very little information about ongoing negotiations between their leadership and government.
Yes, and now, it's enough. Clap for it.
Exactly a week after suspending their strike, teachers are already under pressure to meet their targets for the term. Staying away from class for over a week has not only affected the academic timetable, but the term scheme of work per the syllabus. Some schools already have their examination questions set and printed ahead of the stipulated time. Pupils of the NEMA 2 JHS, for instance, are due to write the end-of-term exams on April 5, 2013. But teachers are worried they will have difficulties answering some questions.
We are away for 2 weeks and we had already set the questions for the exams. So what happened is when we came back, we tried as much as we can to catch up with them, but unfortunately we've not been able to. And God willing, we are starting our papers tomorrow. The only good thing about it is that for the section B, there are some questions that they have options to choose from. So it will be best on their part to choose those that we have treated. And for those that we haven't done, they'll just leave it out.
Ironically, some teachers are through with their scheme of work for the term and are already doing their end-of-term assessment for students before exams.
I've already finished with my syllabus, almost all the syllabus for the term. I anticipated that anything can happen, like rainfall, flooding, that could cause the break in classes. So anytime I come to class, I do my best to concentrate and go strictly according to the syllabus. And moreover, if a teacher is not in school, I quickly jump into and take that period. So I think it has helped.
Some pupils have, however, devised means of studying when teachers are away and are confident they can write and pass the impending exams.
I'm ready to write the exams because when the teachers went to strike, I was learning. Whether there is no teacher, I was learning in the class.
Now I'm fully prepared. If, for example, if a teacher is teaching me this topic, I learn it when I come to school. When I go home, the topic that I'm not familiar with, then I cover that one. If I'm that familiar with that also one, and I combine it. If we move forward, I also move forward. I don't wait for a teacher to go to this topic before I also go. I go ahead.
Others, well aware of the fact that some topics have not been tackled and are likely to appear in the exams, however, fear they might fail.
Because the teachers went to strike, we will start our exams on next week, but we are afraid that some of the questions we are not able to answer.
Meanwhile, silence over ongoing negotiations between teacher unions and stakeholders have agitated teachers who are expecting quick results.
We haven't heard anything. We were told the strike has been suspended, not cancelled. It's been suspended. So we are here trusting them that we will hear something good. And if there's nothing, I don't know what will be done next term.
So till the grievances of teachers are addressed early enough, they might resolve to resume their strike, and pupils will be the ones bearing the brunt of such actions. Abigail Adumakwenchi for Joy News.
I know my goal. Yes. I know my goal.
Now, in another development, Joy News has learned the meeting between executives of the University Teachers Association of Ghana, UTAG, Chief of Staff and Fair Wages and Salaries Commission has ended in a deadlock. The meeting was to discuss payment of interim market premium arrears, which UTAG says has been lingering on since 2012. We're joined on the line now by the University of Ghana UTAG President, Dr. Langbong Bimi, to tell us what transpired and what they may have agreed on at this meeting. Good evening to you, sir. Hello, Mr. Bimi.
Good evening.
Yes. Okay, we understand the meeting ended in a deadlock. Are you able to tell us what you agreed on, what you were able to agree on, if you didn't agree on the main issues?
Yes, as you rightly put it, the meeting ended in a deadlock because we had earlier on even met with the stakeholders, especially the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission and the Ministry of Finance. And we made our stance clear that we needed a one-time payment of the salary arrears on our premium for the whole of 2012. But what was brought on same day was a three-tier payment ending in September, and we didn't like it, so we decided we were going back to consult our questions and get back to them.
Okay. What is it that you don't like about the arrangements, the spreading of the arrears over a period?
No, we don't like it.
Why?
That's an option.
Why?
You owe me over 1 year, and you finally come and tell me that you want to pay it in piecemeal. It doesn't make sense.
So what's the way forward now?
The way forward is for them to pay it as one-time payment.
So one-time payment or nothing?
Oh, yes. As the situation is now, one-time payment or nothing. That the nothing here doesn't mean that they won't pay anything.
Okay, thank you very much. You heard Dr. Langbong Bimi. He is the University of Ghana UTAG President. Meanwhile, the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission tells journalists it's unlikely that UTAG will receive the lump sum payment they are seeking, as other public servants who benefit from the same interim market premium have already agreed to receive the payment in installments. In other news, the Greater Accra Regional Health Directorate is alerting the general public that as the rainy season approaches, the current shortage of potable water coupled with poor sanitary conditions in the metropolis makes the possibility of a cholera outbreak high. It is therefore advising the public to adopt hygienic practices so the situation can be better managed should there be an outbreak.
Last year, the Greater Accra region recorded 44 deaths and 5,937 cholera cases within 10 months. Accra Metropolis was leading with 3,769 cases, followed by Ga East and Ga South. Experts blame the situation on the delay of cases being reported at the hospital, resulting in the number of fatalities recorded and the poor sanitation situation in the region. The Greater Accra Regional Health Directorate warns that the region may experience a cholera outbreak as the rains have set in and the current shortage of water combined with poor sanitary conditions in the metropolis. The Health Directorate is therefore appealing to the general public to adopt measures to prevent cholera.
So far, we haven't recorded any, but yesterday it rained, and probably this is the beginning of the rains. Therefore, we need to intensify our education, and that is why we're also calling on our health facilities to be alert. As soon as we have a case, we'll follow it up, and then we'll make sure that it doesn't spread.
The Regional Health Director, Dr. Linda Van Otu, notes the Directorate is intensifying education in the region to prevent an outbreak.
At the various health facilities, in the communities during outreaches, we encourage our staff to inform the public, those who come to them, those that they get into contact with, about the need to wash their hands. It's very, very important, and that is what we are doing. We hope that through the radio and through the television, a lot of people will hear about this campaign to help prevent cholera in the Greater Accra region.
The public is therefore advised to practice good personal hygiene and also keep their surroundings clean and beware of food bought from food vendors.
We're taking a break. We'll be back with more news. Don't go away. The consumption of iodized salt is taken for granted by many who consume the indigenous non-iodized salt they consider natural. But experts in nutrition are worried about this growing trend, attributing high cases of mental retardation, fatigue, depression, and other health complications to iodine deficiency. Abigail Adumaku-Entry reports.
The discovery of the link between iodine deficiency and the prevalence of many health complications prompted scientists to develop a medium to boost consumption of the critical nutrient. They settled on salt, which for many is an essential ingredient that adds taste to meals. Even though consumption of iodinated salt became widely accepted in the late 90s after a massive campaign to get Ghanaians to buy into it, there are many, especially food joint operators, who do not see the need to use iodized salt. Mavis Kobner has been cooking at this joint for the past 11 years, using non-iodized salt to spice up the food.
When I came and helped my mom, since then I was seeing that she was using the local salt. If I'm taking orders, then they will ask me, did I use the local one, or then I will tell them that I use the local one. They accepted.
There are other caterers, however, who have come to appreciate the need to use iodized salt in cooking.
Scientifically, essing local salt no yepe omahoden enso ntina yeyisu iodinated salt no local salt no sometimes we sape no say we sape straight na e konkwan ni mu eno sa na sometimes abo wo mti we san kwan na se no be hu na abo egu ase bebre no sa no enye healthy.
To ensure that Ghanaians do not suffer iodine deficiencies, the Food and Drugs Board Act 523 was passed in 1996 to make the iodization of salt mandatory for both human and animal consumption. But for some consumers, their beliefs are more compelling than the law.
Local salt no use. So now yes, we about 2 years use. Some few years ago, now almost at this diluted salt or what. And yet, how is it that but
the non-iodized salt, meanwhile, is widely available on the market, the law notwithstanding. The price of the iodized salt, however, appears to be a factor. While this quantity of iodized salt costs at least 50 pesos, with only 20 pesos you can get this much of the non-iodized one. Peace Gakpeto, a local salt dealer, also adds that it takes just a little to taste.
You can identify salt, no, and no cry chemical. Titiniamano, a boy about the nature, and ya share paper muno. No one soon yet. Don't say, yeah, mamma, one cry, I bet, and ya abrewa by force. See where crowd, dear, a mawa honey come.
But Dr. Hayford Tabri, a nutritionist, says the iodization of salt is the simplest and most cost-effective measure available to prevent mental retardation, depression, among others in the country.
Globally, about 2 billion people, close to 1/3 of the population, lack iodine. The reason is that iodine is needed for mental function and for energy. We have what we call thyroid hormone. There's a hormone that helps to boost energy in us, and when we lack iodine, our energy level goes down, and also it leads to different levels of or different degrees of mental retardation. If people become moody, depression, and all those things, some actually go say insane because of lack of iodine.
He is worried a lot of education on iodine intake had not gone down well with Ghanaians, resulting in iodine deficiency disorders.
The main source of getting iodine into your body is through iodization. So it should be compulsory for everybody. So if you say that since your grandparents have been having goiters, your grandparents have been having mental problems, children in particular, many children have mental illness in school, they can't study well and all that, and we have children with mental disabilities and all that. This affects billions of people. So you can't say that you haven't been, everything has been going on all right without iodization of salt. Without iodization of salt, many things have gone bad, except that people don't know.
So, you might have several reasons for not consuming iodized salt, but the experts have spoken. Like it or not, the body needs iodine's nutritional value. Will you compromise on your health by following myths or traditions? Well, the choice is yours. Reporting from Accra, Abigail Adomakwenchi for Joy News.
Now, Chief Executive Officer of the Savannah Accelerated Development Authority, Alhaji Gilbert Saidu Idi, has expressed worry about false figures and information in the media regarding the Guinea fowl project embarked upon by SADA and Asongtaba Cottage Industries. He also denied a publication that his outfit has embarked on the buying of fresh Guinea fowls to cover up for sums of money spent. Rafiq Salam reports from WA.
Speaking to the media after interacting with Guinea fowl farmers in the Upper West region, the Savannah Accelerated Development Agency Chief Executive Officer Alhaji Gilbert Saidu described as false and an act by certain individuals trying to portray the partnership between his outfit and Asontaba Cottage Industry negatively by concocting stories that are figment of their own imagination. Alhaji Idi cited a case of recent publication where officials of SADA were reported to be on the market buying fresh Guinea fowls to cover up for sums of money spent.
SADA is not an implementer. SADA hasn't got an implementation capacity. SADA does not implement projects. The law that established SADA has not mandated SADA to engage in implementation. So why would we be going around to buy Guinea fowls to come and create an impression that we are implementing any project? It's palpably false. There's no truth whatsoever in it. Why that person manufactured that story, I don't know. You realize that someone, instead of quoting 50 million Ghana cedis, chooses to call it 150 billion old Ghana cedis. Why would you want to go that distance?
He expressed worry about the figures being churned out in the media. He, however, conceded that the project, like any other new project, starts with hidden problems. The Chief Executive Officer of Azontaba Cottage Industries, Henry Kanga, also threw more light on the Guinea fowl project in the region.
On the major aspect, which is very critical of the project in the region, is the establishment of the nucleus farm. And per our structure, as our strategy, we are sure by August 2013, these farms will be ready. We're also going to immediately commence the collection of eggs because next month is the production season, and there's a need for us to start gathering eggs.
The 23rd plenary session of the African Civil Aviation Commission has been opened in Accra to discuss the impact of the aviation on the economies of member countries. It has also discussed the safety of the aviation industry to ensure overall safety of the general public.
The safety of the aviation industry in Africa has recently become a major concern to the international community. Ghana and Nigeria recently experienced accidents in the aviation industry which led to the loss of many lives. Despite the accidents, Ghana is still regarded as one of the safest in the aviation industry of Africa.
This growth put a lot of pressure in the infrastructure, not only the airport, the air navigation services, and I know that there are plans to expand the airport and to build other airports, and this is good, otherwise the air transport will not grow if there is not capacity. But I know that there are plans. I have a meeting yesterday with the Honorable Minister of Transport, and she told me about the expansion plans that the government have for the infrastructure in aviation, and I am very grateful to listen to that.
President of the International Civil Aviation Organization, ICAO, Roberto Cobe Gonzalez, believes government's decision to support the aviation industry will gradually make it an industry hub in Africa. Transport Minister Jifa Tivo says the upgrading of the Tamale Airport is far advanced and will be completed soon in the country's quest to expand its aviation industry.
We want to convert Tamale Airport into an international standard. Funding has been secured, the contractor has put everything in place, the drawings are ready. So for Tamale, there's no doubt about it. The regional capitals where there are no airports to facilitate movement of people, that one will surely come about. Before that, we need to do some feasibility studies. You don't just get up and go and develop an airport. You need to do some feasibility studies. They have to test the soil and all that to ensure that where you are putting that facility is going to last for a long time.
The Director General of the Ghana Civil Aviation Authority, GCAA, Kwame Manfi, also told Joy News they are working around the clock to ensure absolute safety of the Ghana airspace.
We're looking at the overcrowding. There is a new apron that is coming up that will take 8 of the major carriers that fly into Accra. This is, I presume, should be ready within a month or maximum 2 months. And once that is done, this issue will be over.
The 2-day plenary session is expected to find solutions to challenges of the aviation industry.
Meanwhile, some members of the Air Traffic Controllers Association want government to follow through a decision to completely separate the air navigation service from the functions of the industry regulator, the Ghana Civil Aviation Authority. The Air Traffic Controllers say the decoupling will bring the Kotoka International Airport in line with best practice around the world and resolve a long-standing dispute with Togo and Benin over control of the airspace, which could lead to massive revenue loss to Ghana.
All the players in the industry, including the airport company and the air navigation service, were operating together when the government in 2007 decoupled airport management from the functions of the regulator, the GCAA. A promise was made to also eventually decouple the air navigation service, ANS, from GCAA for efficient management and operation of the aviation industry. The Air Controllers Association, GATCA, however, say the failure by government to carry through with the decoupling goes against best practice.
They are the regulators. They are supposed to regulate all civil aviation activities. They regulate the airlines, they regulate the airport company, the air navigation service providers. They regulate and make sure that the right things are done. Unfortunately, in Ghana, the civil aviation, that is the CAA, and the air navigation commission, the air navigation service are under one umbrella. They are in one company. And the CAA find it very difficult to regulate effectively the ANS, and that raises a lot of safety concern. People think that when these two bodies are decoupled, the regulator will find it difficult to survive. But I think there are a lot of models that are around for the regulator to be, for the ANS to be decoupled from the regulator, and he'll be able to function effectively. It's straight conflict of interest. You cannot be a referee and a player at the same time, and that is what is happening here. So maybe as we want to take advantage of the enormous benefit of aviation, these are some of the things we need to put in place so that the right things are done and we benefit from the impact of aviation.
He also spoke about the current situation concerning the management of the Accra Flight Information Region involving Ghana, Togo and Benin.
Our airspace is big. It comprises of Ghana, Togo and Benin. And for some time, I think we have managed it on their behalf. They asked us to manage it. And at a point, they decided that instead of Accra managing it alone, they want us to manage it together. So since 2005, there have been a series of meetings and an agreement was reached in 2008 for co-management. It's been smooth, but at a point there were some few challenges and it is creating a lot of concerns.
Joy News sources, however, explain Togo and Benin are unhappy they are not getting what is due them from the co-management arrangement and are in the process of taking charge of the management of their airspace. The sources say this will leave Ghana airspace with very little revenue, as a lot of the overhead flights which bring in the bulk of the revenue go through the airspace over Togo.
Goldfields Ghana has shut down its Takwa and Damang mines after about 3,000 workers began their strike. The workers yesterday briefly laid down their tools over what they deemed unfair working conditions and the dismissal of a senior Ghanaian official. General Secretary of the Ghana Mine Workers Union, Prince William ACCRA, tells Joy Business they will go on with the action until their concerns are fully addressed. Meanwhile, management of Goldfields Ghana has indicated the striking workers could end up losing their jobs because their action is illegal. A statement copied to Joy Business from the company's head office in South Africa said the workers' action could expose them to the company's no work, no pay rule, resulting in possible dismissals. It is, however, appealing to the workers to exercise restraint as it is working fast to address their demands. The company, according to the statement, attributes the industrial action to a dispute in the payment of profits to employees, unconditional reinstatement of a worker who was dismissed following an internal disciplinary procedure, and allegations of discrimination between expatriate and Ghanaian employees. Goldfields Ghana, the largest gold miner, currently produces about 4,000 ounces of gold every day from its two mines. We're joined on the phone line now by the Chief Executive of the Ghana Chamber of Mines. He is Dr. Tony Orbing. Good evening to you, Dr. Tony Orbing. Now, can we get an understanding of what exactly is happening here? And we're saying this because apparently you also happen to be a former employee of Goldfields Ghana.
Well, good evening. Look, the situation is something that we all need to try and help resolve. We believe that there could be an amicable solution to the impasse between the employees of Goldfields and the management. So at this stage, the chamber is trying to understand in details what really happened and see where we can offer assistance for a resolution. We have appealed to both sides to try and sit down and resolve their differences and work together. So that's really what the chamber is trying to do at this stage. Having worked there before, I think I cannot speak for Goldfields as a company as I used to, but from the perspective of the chamber, we are trying to understand the details of the causes of this conflict.
Okay.
Try to see how we can get into a resolution.
But Goldfields is saying, from the statement we're getting from Goldfields, that the workers risk losing their jobs. Is this something that the Chamber of Mines is seeking to intervene, or this is a threat that's going to be carried through?
Well, I believe that in a primary conflict like this, you want to seek a resolution. You want to try and see if you can have an amicable resolution without, bringing into fore punishment and other things. So what we are looking at is to see how, and then you could see that from Goldfield, they are asking employees, they are appealing to employees to go back to work and avoid that situation. But we would plead to both sides. We will actually plead to both sides to try and sit down and get to some amicable resolution. Once that is done, I believe the issue of who has his job and who doesn't have his job might not arise.
Right, thank you very much. You heard Dr. Tony Obing. He's the Chief Executive of the Chamber of Mines. And that'll be all for business.
So let's do the UEFA Champions League quarter-final matches. Obviously have come to the climax, and we have to find out how the teams performed in this one. It was very, very close, I have to say, for all the teams, and indeed good one for Ghana, as Michael Essien featured for Real Madrid. And we just look at how everything panned out. Of course, we know what happened yesterday. Bayern Munich and Paris Saint-Germain doing very well over there. But this evening, the first game that caught a lot of attention was that game between Real Madrid and Galatasaray. Real Madrid managed to beat Galatasaray by 3-0. Michael Essien delivered a wonderful pass to Benzema, who managed to score the second goal. Ronaldo was on target for Real Madrid as well, and Higuain got the last goal for them. So despite the fact that Didier Drogba started for Galatasaray, he was not able to help his team actually think or manage to have a lot to do with his former coach Jose Mourinho over there. In the other game, Malaga drew goalless with Borussia Dortmund. Indeed, I was hoping that Borussia Dortmund would do well, but that game actually stays this way. That means that both teams have the work cut out for them when they play that second one. So that'll be it for the Champions League, and surely we'll be looking at what happens there. There is still a lot more to pick out over there. Now let's stay in Ghana and find out what's happening here as well. And Communications Director of the Ghana Football Association, Ibrahim Sani Dara, has told Joy Sports his outfit's decision to call up players for camping is to aid the technical team build a solid side for their upcoming CHAN qualifier against Benin in June. 26 local players who received call-ups from Coach Dauda Lutrod over the weekend have assembled in Obuasi, where they are expected to spend 12 days before going back to their respective clubs. According to Sani Dara, the camping is to improve team cohesion.
It is for us to start early preparation towards our qualifiers. You'd realize from the squad that players from Kotoko are not included, and players from the current under-20 team are not included. The rationale is that Kotoko are playing this weekend, so they will not be able to have that time in camp. And the satellites are only just returning from the tournament. So it will be a phased, observation of these players before the coaches actually take a decision on who they want to call in their final squads. We've not sat down to decide that yet. As the team is coming back, a meeting will be held by the Premier League board and a decision will be taken.
And in the FTN FA Cup this afternoon, Asante Kotoko beat Agbozoma Weavers by 4-1. They are into the round of 16. That'll be all for sports tonight. My name is George Adda Jr. Do you have a good evening? Of course, Israel will join us with showbiz.
Sports was brought to you in association with.
Nearly a month after his controversial weed smoking act, American R&B bad boy Chris Brown has spoken about his act. Truth is, his explanation has made the already cloudy situation even murkier. Now, he told an American radio station the weed was fake, and says the Ghanaian media blew the issue out of proportion. Really?
American R&B star Chris Brown has finally spoken out on his much talked about performance in Ghana, where he is alleged to have smoked marijuana on stage. American gospel sensation Darwin Hobbs, who performed in Ghana during the Easter period, criticized Brown for his alleged weed smoking act, saying, quote, "You brought weed to a concert? Who does that? Shame on you," unquote. But Breezy has defended his act, responding to a question about the incident on the Breakfast Club show on Power 105.1 radio. The singer said it was a fake weed and blamed the Ghanaian media for making, quote, "a big fuss."
Right, then that'll be all for the bulletin. Before we go, the quick run through our top stories. President Mahama says relations between Ghana and China should not be strained by infractions caused by some of its citizens in the mining sector. Health authorities are warning about the possible outbreak of cholera as the rainy season approaches. The Polytechnic students also are protesting the move by the National Service Secretariat to deploy graduates as traffic wardens. The Fair Wages and Salaries Commission met UTAG over its ongoing strike, but it turns out that the meeting ended in a deadlock. And the CEO of SADA has cleared the air about what he describes as false figures and misinformation regarding the Guinea FOWL project. And that ends the bulletin. My name is Israel Lai. You have a good evening. For more news, log on to myjoyonline.com.